job. Great. It is so encouraging. You've been creative with the design of your blogs, with your names, and with what you've been posting. And I'm so proud of y'all. Such a good job. Give yourself a hand. Now there is an honorable mention blog that I got to point out, and that was Noble Woman 8. So read her. Noble Woman 8 wrote a back bio for her book cover, a back cover bio, and it was really, really just good. It was energetic, and you thought she had, was a published author, well-known author from the way she wrote it. So y'all take a peek at her and get some of that energy. I know that a lot of you have had some problems with it. I think y'all blew Google up. I think y'all were out there sticking those blogs in and they couldn't keep up with y'all. And so that was just very exciting. But just know that, if you have trouble following someone or those kind of things, those are not necessarily our problems. Some of them are Google issues. But if you go back, it will, calm down and you'll be able to do it. So we're starting today. We're going to talk about the parts of a book. Our focus today is going to be on developing your outline. And so the first one is parts of a book, because as an author, if you're writing a book, you're responsible for all of these parts. You don't have to actually do all of them, but you have to make sure they get done. It's your job to do that. And the first one is the foreword. And the foreword is just a little preview that someone else writes for you. The foreword is someone hyping up your session. Okay, like when I wrote my book, my son wrote my foreword, and he did such a good job. I was just, oh man, I hope my book, lives up to the foreword. And that's the purpose of the foreword, to really have someone else's voice get you excited about what you're about to read. The introduction is written by the author, or the preface written by the author, and that's where you give a preview of your story. You say, I wrote this because, or my experiences led me here, or those kinds of things, okay? Of course, you have your table of contents. You can have a dedication or an acknowledgement, or both. You have the book, and that's the main part. That's your main writing assignment, is the actual book. And then you have an author's bio. Now, that was one of the assignments for last week, where you could create a bio that would go in your book, so they would know who you are. And in addition, if, let's say you do speaking engagements, or you want to leave your website or your email address so they can contact you. And then, of course, your back cover copy. Because when you walk into a bookstore, you pick up a book, excuse me, what you do is you look at the title, you look at the colors, the pictures, and you said, oh, this looks interesting, and you flip it over. What is it about? So the back cover is to tell the people what you are writing about, and also give them a little glimpse of the author. So there's a short bio there on the back cover, and also your picture. So all you authors, find your best picture, go have pictures made when you publish your book, and put your picture on your book. All right? We're going to... some people have problems with that. We're going to talk about the assignment first. The assignment for next week is going to be to create a table of contents for your book. Now, if you have already written a book, great, write another one and create a new table of contents. If you have one in progress, then you might want to kind of bump it up against the things that we're going to talk about. I mean, these are not hard and fast rules, but this is a prescription for giving you some order of how you're going to write your book. So you will still maybe want to do that anyway. Okay, so we're going to use the model to create a title, 4 chapters, titles, and under each chapter title, you're going to create 3 points that we're going to talk about. Now, we're going to go over this in the session, but I wanted to just introduce the assignment first. All right? Good. So now we're going to make an outline, and we're going to talk about your main title. when you begin writing a book, maybe it's a magazine, whatever you're writing, you have to have a name for it, because there's energy in that thought process. When you give it a name, every time you think about it, now your creativity triggers. Something triggers in you, and you say, oh, my book. Oh, yeah, my book. And so this is going to be a trigger for you, and energy for you when you're out somewhere and a thought pops in your head, or you see something that says, oh, I should write about that in my book. And that will help you remember it as well. Don't get stuck if it's not a great title, if it's not all you want it to be. You can change it. We know about working titles, right? Our bishop here's my working definition. We got working titles here. We understand that process. So don't get stuck on it, but give it a name. Breathe it, birth it, give it a name. Chapter titles. A book should generally have about 4 chapters, minimally. And that's because, there's a perception that you ought to have more than 3 things to say if you're giving information. If you're writing a very small book, well, of course that doesn't apply. But generally, 4 chapters is a good place to start. And so you've got to develop 4 chapter titles as we're discussing it today. The chapter titles are going to be the points that support your main title. Okay? So this is a good time for you to do your GPA. This is a good time for you to get organized in your thoughts and make sure you know exactly what it is you're going to tell, what the story is that you're going to tell. It also will help you determine how you're going to tell your story. For example, is it a chronological story? We started here. I was born here, then I went to grade school, and then I graduated high school, and then I went to college. Is it going to be chronological? Is it going to be topical? Is it going to be suspenseful? Is it going to be task-driven? Is it a how-to book where you're giving tasks, and so you have to build a foundation, and then each chapter after that will add on to what you've already established? So when you do your GPA, what is GPA? Louder? Goals, purpose, and audience. Right. When you begin writing, you need to determine a goal for your project, the purpose for your project, and the audience for your project. So this will help you as well become focused, and it will help you organize it so that you can get through the points that you want. And for the purpose of this exercise today, our beginning, we're going to talk about each chapter should now have at least 3 points of interest to talk about. And that's just a general number. If you listen to any preacher, well, not bishop, he got points for days, but the average or the general concept is you got 3 points and a close. And so that's what we kind of do here. We're kind of conditioned to receive information that way. And so that's the prescription that we're going to go with. So, have 3 points, and of course those 3 points are all going to be about your chapter title. Now, some of the 3 points in there could be anecdotes, just little stories that you heard, you told, whatever. They could be experiences. Experiences are always valuable because they give you credibility as the author. Oh, they went through that. Oh, yeah, they know what they're talking about. It could be revelation. We've been seeking God as we start these projects, right? And so now God is talking to you. So share it. Share that revelation with us. It could be references, scripture, some other technical information that is critical to you describing what you're writing about. It could be your research. And let's talk about research. Writing is not just sitting down with a pen or a keyboard. You have to do some research and know what you're talking about. Even if it's a fiction book, for a romance novel. Let's say you're writing a romance novel and the setting is Paris. Well, what is one thing that everybody can think of that you might need to get right. What do we know about Paris? Okay, so, well, guess what? There's other things in Paris. So, you might need to do some research to find out, how the sun sets in Paris or whatever it is. Don't be afraid to do research. That is a part of writing. And especially if you're writing inspirational or spiritual or religious or Christian material. You want to make sure that, your biblical references are accurate and that you've used them properly. And, we have all kinds of